We all should be getting a message on the screen. There you got it. Meeting is being live streamed. So what UNNC is now doing is this live stream. We don't really think we have thousands of viewers, but we're retaining the videos of our Zoom meeting either way. When we were only doing Zoom recordings, those recordings are so digitally big that it was hard to upload. So that's what we're doing. Okay, Elizabeth, you can take it away and I can share the screen.
Okay, so hello, welcome. It always feels strange. I'm calling in from Wichita, and you're part of the Sustainability Committee of UNNC at our monthly meeting. And it's very exciting, this meeting particularly, because it sounds like we're going to have an event on Earth Day 2023.
So can you see the screen? I've shared it.
I can see the screen. Looks great. Okay. So one will say that the powers that be have determined to continue to hold meetings virtually for COVID. Anything else you want to say about that, Laura?
Well, this meeting is being conducted virtually, and I believe that the neighborhood councils will be conducting their meetings virtually through February, and then it's not clear what's happening after that. City Council has voted to end the emergency. The Brown Act has been amended to potentially allow virtual meetings in a hybrid setting. Mm-hmm. But there's not a clear path for UNNC committees because, to me, it's a very clear path. We just go to the South Seas house, set up a computer, and the chair has to be sitting, or the co-chair. The designee has to be sitting in public place, but everybody else can attend via Zoom, we think.
That's good news.
The governing board will have to be back in person. At least 13 people have to be in a public place. Okay. So it's unclear because just as the city is actually beginning to reel from too many cases of flu, RSV, and COVID, the state seems to want to go back in person. So I don't know.
Interesting.
For tonight, we're virtual.
Well, but yeah, for our purposes, I mean, I think meeting on Zoom is really, really effective.
Well, our committees are doing very well on Zoom, and we're just trying to. We've proposed to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment that we just keep the committees on Zoom, but based on the state law, a chair. So a lot of committees have co-chairs. One of the chairs, the quorum of the committee. We just gonna have to figure out some language. A person needs to be sitting in a public space. That's all.
Okay. Is that going to
happen
next?
Use the South Sea Center.
Is that going to happen in the new year?
Sometime early in the new year, maybe.
Okay.
Very unclear.
Well, so welcome to Ann, Davina, Christy. So good to see you. I'm rounding out my year here in Wichita, and I will be there for this event coming on Earth Day for sure. So anyway, I was a 13-year resident of West Adams. I still have a house there that I'm coming back, and then, my family needed me here in Wichita. So that's me. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. Anne, can you go next?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. This is my first time attending a UNNC Environmental Committee meeting. Usually Elizabeth, I think, is here to attend in representation of Garden School Foundation, where I also work, and I'm the program manager there for the Cafeteria to Compost program. And so I'll also be hosting the workshop on Saturday.
Awesome. Super. Yeah, that's coming up. Davina, next. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm Davina. I am a 8-year renter in Arlington Heights, and I've been dropping off my compost every weekend at the farmer's market.
Yay.
I dropped off like 8.5 pounds last weekend.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Yeah. So.
Super.
Nice.
And Christy, you're the one that told us about it.
What? Yes.
You're the one. Yeah.
I told you about the farmer's market drop off. Yeah. I'm still dropping off there. I dropped off 4.5 pounds, but it's a real good way to do it because LA Compost knows what they're doing and takes it out of my hands, and it's really fabulous. I'm excited about the Garden School Foundation program. I want to attend that, and I'm a 25-year resident, hard for me to believe, of West Adams, and I'm excited about all the things happening with committees like this and trying to grow more trees and that sort of thing all over the city.
And I'm Laura Myers. I'm not even gonna say how long I've been here, longer than Christy. Anyway, I live in Angeles Vista, which is one of UNNC's neighborhoods, and obviously we're on the part of West Adams District. And I am the Zoom host and good friend to Elizabeth, and hold her up and push her to be able to come to all of these meetings. But we won't have to push for very long because she's gonna be back. Okay, back to you.
All right, let's move to any public comments.
And I do have some updates
Great, go for it.
because I spent 6 hours at the planning commission meeting or hearing today. By the way, waiting for an item that ended up tabled because after 6 hours, they lost quorum. But I found the agenda earlier in the day, both a report from planning staff about their initiative moving forward on biodiversity and trees and everything else. It's a big initiative forward. And the wildlife, which was the thing that took so much time. But it turns out that the wildlife ordinance is also wild trees, like, butterflies, things like that. And it was weirdly controversial in that a lot of the tens of thousands of properties affected by this new ordinance include homeowners who are not happy to suddenly be included in a special overlay that's, going to potentially limit not them so much, but if they ever wanted to sell their house to someone who wanted to tear it down and build a new one, it's going to have major impact. Finally, one of the commissioners, Karen Mapp, who you all may know, because she's over the years done a lot of work in our neighborhood on cultural heritage and things. But she finally said that what we seem to be talking about is property rights, which are important. And then she said, compared to the future of humanity. So she said, I vote with humanity. And that is what they wanted for the wildlife. So it's interesting. And in the case of the other initiatives, they're definitely moving for people who apply for projects, even by right building permits. They're changing the order of things so that when you go in and apply, the next thing is the tree root, or you have to, like, whether it's a regular building and safety by right thing or a project. So instead of putting our urban forest at the back end of the application process, after all the other approvals that they've given, and they go to where they are, go to apply for the final building permits, and then find out they have a tree that's protected. They're putting it up way up at the front.
Wow, great.
Right? So that's a good thing. It may still be controversial.
Okay. Super. Thank you, Laura. Any other comments before we move on to
I have a comment about something I just saw on Spectrum, the Spectrum News channel, about things going on in LA. Can I share that? I thought it was interesting. It was about East LA, where they have initiatives to address environmental racism. And they have something called Blink Mobility, where they're having shared electric cars that nobody knows about apparently, but they're trying to publicize it more so people can have an alternative method of getting around. And they have an initiative, and I'm not sure who's doing this. I'd like to know more about it, where they're going to plant 1,000 trees to increase the urban canopy to obviously to address the heat factor and make neighborhoods more livable. So I thought some of the things going on there were worth noting and you know, copy.
Super, super. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'd love to follow up on that and see if they're learning things, if they're doing it in a way that shows that they learned from the past, you know, like what to do and what not to do. But let's move on. Let's move on because unfortunately my time is limited now.
Right, so is it okay, Elizabeth, if we just say what the next two items are and then I stop the screen share?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
So the next two items are planning for Earth Day, April 22nd, and then finally an update on composting workshop. And I'm happy if we want to switch the two and do an update on composting workshop, because I don't know that Anne needs to be here for the planning for Earth Day, unless you want to be part of the Earth Day event. Maybe you don't have your own Earth Day event yet, and we're having one here in West Adams.
I would love to hear more about that. I think Elizabeth had mentioned too that we are supposed to be hosting another composting workshop for Earth Month. So I don't know if it's going to fall on that same day's event or separately, but I think we do have something in the works with UNNC.
Great.
There are several more workshops for the full year. So we had fall and then spring. I think there's two. One will be at a remote location, remote meeting, I think Pico Union, maybe at KYCC's place. And the other will be the other. So yes, whichever order you want to go in. I just didn't want to keep sharing the screen.
Sure, that's fine.
So I mean, do we want to just talk about the composting workshop?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Because it's Saturday.
Yeah.
And the only question I have, the last one got rained out. Crossing fingers, this one won't be rained out. So it had started and then got cut off, and I had dropped off UNNC postcards. And when I came after it was already canceled, so I had lunch, but I never thought to ask for them. Do you guys still have them, or do I need to bring some more?
We do. We still have the postcard. I forget if you supplied a sign-in sheet for us, but oh, you don't. Okay, so we'll have one on like our end, and then we also have a thank you card where we had one person sign it. Unfortunately, it did get kind of wet. Yeah, so you can still see the note, but just the front of it is a little bit damaged. But we can also like supply a thank you card as well.
Right. Did you? Because one thing I had said I would do it, and I could easily do it, but I would have to do it tomorrow. Do you have a handout, something in writing that you wanted to hand out, but maybe you have the ability to print it? Hi, Charlie. Or did you guys print it too?
We created, like a little trifold brochure that was printed out front and back, and we handed that out as well.
Okay, cool. So I don't need to do anything other than this time show up. What had happened the last time is I got there very early and handed over paperwork at 9 o'clock. And then I got a call from my neighbors on my block that somebody was delivering like 50 vinyl windows to put in a house that has beautiful original historic windows. And it was quite the individual emergency. So I ended up kind of stuck on that. And then when I came back, the guys had already canceled. Anyway, okay. So there are two, I don't know what the dates are. I know that that anything at the 24th Street Elementary has to be in conjunction with a scheduled kindergarten day. And beyond that, I don't know which of those days.
Oh, okay.
So
if it's for April, we have our community garden days every third Saturday of the month.
it's going to be the 15th of April.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So,
Pull up my calendar.
that Easter vacation.
Let me just pull up our calendar to confirm. Yeah, it does sometimes get shifted. So on my calendar, I have the 15th. Yeah. And so it's the Saturday after Easter.
And so good to know. And then I guess we migrate. Is there anything we need to know for Saturday that we need to bring to you besides hopefully some more people?
I don't think so. So it starts at 10. As you mentioned, our community garden day will be happening at the same time, and the compost workshop should last about an hour. So if anybody would like to stay after the workshop, just to kind of spend some time in the garden and have lunch with us, the community garden day will go until noon or 12:30.
Nice.
But yeah, otherwise, oh, and if you have compost from home, you can always bring it. We normally don't collect compost from the neighborhood just because we are already processing so much from the cafeteria. But if you're attending the workshop, please bring your compost from home. We'll be happy to take it.
Well, you're saying compost, you mean the food scraps?
Yeah, the food scraps that we collect from, oh yeah, sorry, your food scraps from home. Feel free to bring it and we'll compost it at the school.
That's wonderful to hear that you have too much.
Well, it means the kids are not eating all their healthy food.
Yeah, I mean, that part, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But yeah, it's also a population of 600 students. So we end up getting quite a bit of food scraps.
Diverted from waste. One measure of success, or rather one way of knowing that we're doing the right thing, is a measurement. How could, and I know it's very late in the game for this, but how will we see measurements? How do we do that so that we can go back to UNNC and say, see how well this worked? We need more of these.
Well, the balance of that. If we get enough people out, then it's a success. And if we don't, we have to figure out. I mean, we did early outreach this time.
Is it all about people? Okay.
Well, in this case, if we're doing a workshop, hopefully, you give a workshop and people go. And we've been doing a lot of outreach, but it's all digital. I mean, in other words, we're not handing out flyers. But I even, weirdly enough, I even posted it to West Down Heritage. I mean, I just made a Facebook post that said, historic preservation is sustainable, so is compost. So, we'll see. We'll just see.
Sure.
And it looks like there might be rain in the forecast on Saturday, which is such a bummer because it rained last time. I think that just affected the turnout so much, but I was just looking and it looks like it, at least at this, the phone, I feel like changes its mind like every 30 seconds about how the weather is going to go, but it looks like at least now it's saying it's in the evening if it comes. So,
right. So what happens if it rains a second time?
So we do have a canopy. It's just one of those pop-up canopies. So people can huddle under there. We can also always move the workshop to the cafeteria, which is under like a structure. It won't have quite the same effect because we do hold it in where we compost actively. So it's kind of nice for that like more visual hands-on effect of it. But yeah, we can always do that.
Well, it would be nice if it's not canceled the second time. And it's sort of create a situation where you have to pay for the cheap.
Laura, I think unless you're speaking slowly and clearly at your computer, I can't hear you.
same.
Okay, I'm going to try just always staring straight ahead. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What I was saying is, since last time it was disappointingly canceled, not the garden day, just the workshop. I hope this time we will be able to figure out how not to cancel.
Yeah,
I
and
hope we
last-
heard that time, because I see Elizabeth leaning in.
And
Sure.
last time, we tried, Charlie had attended, and we tried to stick it out in the rain as long as we could, because it started off as like a light drizzle and then it started to get a little heavier. So we did have to cut it short. But we were able to get through a portion of it.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it really wasn't raining that hard, but I do think it just in LA, like the rain, like people just, it's like this, it's such a thing. Like, I feel like just people won't even like attempt to come if it's raining kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a very small group.
But hopefully, again, it looks like it's evening rain. So hopefully that's the case. When I saw the rain on set, I love the rain, but I saw the rain on Saturday, I was like, no.
Right. Okay. So I know Elizabeth really wants to have a quick meeting. So do we circle back to the real meat and potatoes of tonight? So, well, for vegetarian version of same, and talk about Earth Day 2023, which is on April. I keep forgetting the date. It's April 22nd, not 23rd. I think I put 23rd in the email, not in the big email, which was ours. So what's happening is that coincidentally, the neighborhood council elections, so for all 99 neighborhood councils, start now for signing up for different regions. And for our UNNC region, which is region 10, the actual election day is coincidentally Earth Day, April 22nd, 2022. And it happens to also be the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So we had been talking even, before we knew the date, we had been talking about we're going to have an in-person election. We could also have an adjacent event so that we can get more people to come out to then vote, but have something else that draws them. So this obviously is now, it's Earth Day. So what we'll have is some sort of Earth Day event. And we've been talking about doing a tree giveaway. Lizzie, who's the elections chair, also wants to kind of make it even a little broader. So subtitle is going to be something like sustainability and resilience, and she wants to draw in on the emergency preparedness community. So it's not 100% sustainability. But the question is besides a tree giveaway, which we hope we can have, what else would we do? Whatever I would guess you call them tables or booths. What else should we do there? We probably should try and give away the seeds for milkweeds and have handouts about monarch butterflies. Should we be showcasing some of our local nonprofits like the Guardian School, like Crop Swap? But would they be available to be there to be showcased? It's after all Earth Day, and they may have other things that they've been invited to do or want to do. So that's the question. What else should we do? We as a small group committed to being at that event because the election chair, Lizzie, she'll be 200 feet away. It's a polling place, but she cannot be setting up this event and doing the polling place. Conversely, I'm up for election. If I'm running, probably, I can't be in the polling place. So that it delegates me to this event and delegates Lizzie to the polling place, which is the Washington Irving Library. So that is confirmed. So what we're doing is talking to the council office about closing 12th Avenue, which is the street just east at Washington, and doing whatever we're doing. So maybe the council office will help us not just close the street, but hot dogs or something like that. It's kind of counter to this thing.
Yeah,
You're looking
let's
at me
talk
a
about
little bit
menu.
like,
Yeah, seriously. Well, they have good vegan hot
well, you're
dogs.
looking, but if we don't want to be serving food. it's a really hard thing for a neighborhood council to do. So if we can get the council office to do it, they don't have the same limitation, but they tend to lean towards that thing. And the last event they had for the park opening, there's a park right there too. They hired Johnny Green, who the cafe one more block to the east, to actually barbecue hot dogs for it. So to me, the negotiation would be over. Can we also have a vegan version as
Right.
opposed to not coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's a discussion to have. But I mean, I actually think it could be a nice larger get together. I think I'm hungry for it. I think people, no pun intended, people are hungry for it. I think we could talk to Marius and see if he could provide a table full of plants and we could sell native plants if he were willing to do that, or if anybody were willing to do that. I like compost. I like worms compost. Everybody loves to see the worm compost, right?
So you're saying bring the worms to the event?
You
Is that
gotta bring the
doable, Anne?
worms. Say again?
It's portable for sure.
Mhm.
So do you think the Garden School Foundation would have a conflicting event, or would they be able to be a participant? I mean, you have to ask, but in
Right.
that,
Yeah, I'll bring this back to my supervisor in the ED about whether or not we have the capacity to be at the event. It's just a matter of staffing and things like that. But otherwise, it's definitely something I'm sure we would be interested in participating in. And just
well, and I wonder, I wonder, even if you can't quote staff it, meaning with paid staff, maybe
Mhm.
some of your board members,
right.
because it'd be a really great way to introduce yourselves to a larger community.
And that's just one of many ideas that we could have. We could have a coloring station. We could have some music. We could have, could be something. And I promised that at 10:30 I'd take care. It's a crying baby and mom was just done. So we said, go to bed. My sister's taking care of him, but I can hear him crying in the background. So I'm going to go and just say that next month, like very excited. I'd love if we could do an email, a little bit of a back and forth, a little bit of, or a Google Doc where we could start adding things to a Google Doc in planning and ideas.
Right. Well, can we stay even if you have to go?
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
we stay a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I can, technically I can, I'm the Zoom host, but is that okay with you?
It's fine with
we-
me.
we
Do I
take
need
a
to
few more
deputize
minutes?
someone? But yeah, thank you for having more of this meeting, and and Laura, you can share with me more what happens. And Charlie, Davina, Christy, and Anne, it's great to see you guys and great to meet you, Anne. All right, see you again.
Okay, bye, Elizabeth.
Bye.
Bye.
So, does anybody, obviously I'm gonna keep being the host here. Does anybody have other ideas or things for things we should be doing? Yeah, again, I'm just kind of visualizing more than one table. What other tables should there be? And I will say, I did just mention Crop Swap, which is another nonprofit. And I think they do more than just swapping crops at this point. I mean, this is the guy who is also doing demonstration vegetable gardens in parkways and in front yards in View Park and stuff. So, I could see if he wants
the
to have
name
a table.
again. Say the name
Well, the
again.
entity is Crop, CROP, Swap, SWAP.
Right.
And, so I mean, the big deal would be to be sure that city plans or somebody else would agree to bring trees to give away. I mean, that's to me the most important factor. But I want to make sure that if I go to executive committee in 2 weeks and say, we're on board, that we are as a group on board to help out with it. Yes? No? Well, and but she,
Oh,
but I mean,
right.
Christy, will you be able to, I mean, in other words, we're all so COVID shy, so I just want to see if doing an after that is something we're all going to help with.
This is an outside event.
Outdoors.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that could work.
And I know Charlie always have the childcare issue. Oh, but you know what? It's right next to it's right next to that little kids park.
Oh, that could work.
Right, because I mean, it has the library park. It's right, there's a library. There's a
Oh, the
little
new
kids
little
park.
library park. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, she
And it
likes
has-
that one too. It's a fun
Yes,
one.
okay. So we're gonna count on you.
All
Like you
right.
said.
Depends on what time it is, but I will try my, what time is it at?
Oh, the election is from 10 to 2, so I imagine that would be, the idea would be they'd be the same timing. I know that there'll be some setup, but I'm just thinking for you guys, if you can we'll have board members too, but make sure that the environmental committee, because we would want to have our own handouts and say, join this committee. And here's why, and stop using plastic. Here's why. I mean, all the things we've been talking about would be what we have. We would have our own booth, separate from the butterfly booth, or I should say milkweed booth. So, all right, well, so who else should we, UNNC, not you, be reaching out to see if they would participate? If anyone has any program. Oh, Davina, you can show and tell those. What is it you do for not using a toothbrush?
Sorry, what was that? Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
You don't use a toothbrush to brush your teeth.
Oh, the little like toothpaste tablets.
Yeah, I mean, we should have some show and tell of some of these ideas that we've been talking about for the last X number of
Yeah,
months.
yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Right. So
You can put me down
Okay.
for show and tell.
yeah, no, I'm saying we should have one away unless somebody wants to donate. I mean, in other words, I don't actually think you. If you wouldn't mind, because we can get funding. If you wouldn't mind, could you kind of let me know what these things cost? I mean, do they come in sample size packets or just big boxes? Because if we could, actually, we could purchase and give away one if they're packaged individually. If you know what I mean?
Okay,
But I've never
yeah.
even seen them.
Let me do some research and I can send you some links and things. So we can
Perfect.
look at options. Okay, cool.
Right, because what we're going to do is, like I said, the elections committee meets next week. The emergency prep committee also meets next week. So we're going to talk to both of them. And then we're going to go to UNNC's executive board on the 20th and say, here's some money we think we need. It's an event. And here's I mean, we're going with a bigger budget. We have other events related to the election and even the election appliances will have money requirements. But if I could know these money things by 5 days before the 15th or 16th would be great.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Any other, so Elizabeth said we talked to Marius. He has access to meeting plan B's, but some are still not. The financial officers for UNNC have a scheduled meeting tomorrow afternoon with the city clerk to see what we can and cannot do in terms of payment for them. And so we're moving ahead. So that's it on my end for this. Unless anybody has any other ideas for that event.
I can try to have an answer for you if Garden School Foundation can participate within the next few days.
Okay. And again, it could be as simple as one of the board members as opposed to the paid staff. And then, but material, I mean, for Garden School Foundation, you guys have so many great programs. It would be great to showcase.
Yeah, at the very least, I think we can gather up some materials for you.
Right. But we need somebody talking about.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, right. Okay. All right. Anything else? We did promise a relatively short meeting. Seeing nothing, hearing nothing. The only other thing on this agenda, going to be, I don't think we have anything. Follow up to old business, but I think we don't need to do that. Okay. Well, somebody has old business to bring on.
It's so hard to hear you, Laura. I'm sorry.
I
feel like I'm
know, and it's
so
weird.
responsive, but
because-
it's like so hard to understand.
Okay, I'm sorry. Does
Echoing.
anyone have a
Echoing.
business to bring up? We are getting a new computer.
You're getting a new computer. I heard that part.
With a better microphone.
It's funny because
Okay.
sometimes it's so clear and then it goes to like Charlie Brown teacher kind of.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's frustrating because I'm gotten so used to being on Zoom and now people are having trouble hearing 3 years. So
Wow.
it's just exciting. All right.
All
Can you
right.
hear me now saying, can we adjourn?
Yes. Okay. Good night, everybody. Sorry I was
Good night.
late. Okay.
Hope to
Thank
see you
you.
on Saturday.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah.
see each other on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Okay. Bye-bye.